Good morning and welcome to Q-Trans Q School, and kind of a special episode today as we take I think, Q School field trip to the factory. I'm joined up here by three very well-known gentlemen. I'm Mike Maselli, your host today, and executive producer and creative director of Maselli Productions. And I've been invited up here to host this discussion with our president, Gean Tremaine.
Thanks.
Thank you. Incoming Co-CEO and COO Jim Binch.
Thank you.
And Gean Tremaine, the founder and co-CEO of the company. And it's great to have you all here and for me to be here. Thank you for bringing me here. So Gean, let's start by talking about the history. You're the founder, but the story starts a little earlier than that, right?
Well, it's almost amazing for me to say this, that it's been now 50 years that I've been in the lighting industry, but our family, the Tremaine family, has been in lighting since 1889, for 131 years. My great-grandfather, Burton Tremaine, began making light bulbs in Astoria, Ohio, back in 1889. He went on to found Neela Park, which became the headquarters for the GE lamp division. He stayed on the GE board until he died in 1949. My grandfather took over a company that he had purchased, the Miller Company, which made lighting fixtures in Meriden, Connecticut. My father joined the company after the war, and I joined in 1970. So here it is, 50 years down the road. But a little over 25 years ago, I founded Q-Tran. At the time, I was a lighting designer and had a lighting showroom in South Norwalk, Connecticut, and saw a need for low voltage lighting. And I was concerned about transformers humming in ceilings and also the lack of performance due to voltage drop. And so I started tinkering away. You gestate new businesses in the basement or your garage, and I was in the basement of my building there. And we started building power supplies. We were UL listed in 93. We were funded through family and friends in 94, and really started earnestly selling nationwide in 94, but 95 was our first full year. We stayed there for 5 years, moved to Bridgeport for 10 years from 2000 to 2010, and we've been in this facility since that time. I'm proud to have you see our factory behind me. We have just renovated this and reconfigured the factory. Our concern was that we needed to create more velocity through our system. We had a lot of systems that needed updating as we grew as a company, which we have been working on. We've also added corporate offices that are a first for us, where we have everybody together. We've also added a second encapsulation machine because we were having difficulty meeting our needs, so we doubled our capacity to solve that issue. Also, I'm very pleased to introduce somebody I have known and worked with for 40 years. To my right here is Jim Binch. Jim has been a consultant to us at our company for the last 20 years. And Jim has been very involved and knowledgeable about what we have been doing and as we've grown. Jim is going to give you a little bit of his background, but we could not have found a more appropriate person to come into a family business to help us become more proficient in the systems and operations to go to the next level. And with that, I'm very pleased to introduce a very good friend of mine, Jim Binch, who is co-CEO with me and also the Chief Operating Officer. He has a fantastic background in manufacturing, which you'll hear about now. And I know that Q-Tran will be even stronger than it already is with Jim helping us out.
Welcome, Jim.
Thank you, Michael.
Tell us a little bit about what brought you here and what you're going to bring to it.
Well, it's been I've known John for a very, very long time, and we've conversed over the years about the underground lighting power supply package and the designs and virtually everything up to the present. And John has reached out to me on occasion together with Gean for counsel and advice about challenges or opportunities that the business faced. My background is an engineering background and a finance MBA, and have been running companies now for, I hate to say it, nearly 30 years. And I was with a private equity firm in the city. My job there and my role was as senior operating partner for the firm to provide guidance, assistance, and leadership to the various portfolio companies that we had, many of whom, in fact, the majority of which were manufacturing-based businesses. And then during that 14-year period that I was with them, I was interim CEO on 3 different occasions, working with systems, improving the performance of the businesses, installing continuous improvement, value stream mapping, and all of the things that are commonplace in today's manufacturing world. And with the advent of COVID, which has obviously affected everybody, and no business that I know of has been unaffected, John and I were chatting. He said, have you given us any more thought about maybe coming and joining us finally? I've been asking you for years. I scratched my head and I said, I've been on the road for 150 days a year for the last 14 years. Maybe it's time that I brought my skill and expertise to, if you will, you got Gean and John who are the rainmakers, John the innovator, and my role will be to help make sure it gets through the processes and through the factory fast and efficiently, and that we scale the business up to continue to grow into the future.
So your focus is on building?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that the building blocks of a good company are its processes and its systems and its people. Yes, there are machines. Machines are important, but machines are not very good without very good people. And very good people require assistance in how things should be done on a consistent basis so that quality remains at the highest possible level, but the efficiency is there as well. Mm-hmm. And so what I'm looking forward to doing is helping the creative and innovation process, and then speeding things through the business, if you will, all the way through the cash cycle.
Great. You mentioned quality and consistency, and these are things that became even more challenging early this year, right? And Gean, you're president. You've been sailing the ship as it goes into this storm, and it became more and more challenging at the beginning of the year for many reasons. What did you do to combat that and continue to offer the kind of consistency and excellence that you've been known for as a company?
Sure. I think that, in the January, February timeline, the supply chain was probably the bigger concern. We're fortunate that we have a very good sourcing team in China that helps, not only do our quality assurance and quality control, but also is our sourcing team, so they can go out and vet vendors. But they're really our feet on the ground there. We're not able to get to China now.
Right.
I usually go 4 times a year, and right now we can't get there. But having our own team there guarantees that we can continue to get the product that we demand. But we also have, starting a few years ago, invested in the equipment to allow us to make product here, so we don't necessarily have to rely on our vendors in China.
Right.
So that's pretty important to our success.
Mm-hmm. You also expanded recently, second unit in California.
Right. So we have our facility in Southern California. It's 5,000, or not quite 5,000 square feet right now. but it allows us to do not only have warehousing capabilities, but actually manufacturing. I believe we have 5 people there at this point, 2 in customer service, one, Phil Gerard, who's been with us for a long time, is out there, and then we have actually 3 people in the warehouse assembling.
Yeah.
So that gives us a lot of capability and a presence in California that was needed. This is a big country, and shipping from Connecticut to the West Coast is a long lead time. This allows us to get product to our customer base in a quicker manner.
Right. What is the guiding factor for you when you're making decisions to expand or to create something new? What's guiding all of that?
We listen to our customers, our reps and our specifiers on not only what products are needed, but what is needed from us to make business easier to do with us, right? Mm-hmm. So, we heard loud and clear that that our reps and our specifiers on the West Coast really wanted a presence from us on the West Coast. And so we listened, and we were able to make that happen.
And so, Jim,
Yep.
How does this fit now? What are your philosophies in terms of what you look at on the balance sheet and where you're going to put time, money, effort?
Well, thank you, Mike. That's a good question. I mean, the reality is that we're faced with multiple choices every day we walk into the office about doing something or going left or going right. So I think what will guide us collectively is developing a little bit more rigorous roadmap and plan for our future that'll go well beyond a budget year or a fiscal year, but look out 3 or 4 years and say, what types of fixtures, what type of vertical markets, what kind of innovation are we going to seek to provide to the marketplace, and once that's in place, then it allows you to choose your priorities that both are bringing innovation to the market, but at the same time ensuring that the financial strength of the company continues to get stronger and stronger. My particular view at the moment is that the world on the backside of COVID will be a different world than it was before COVID. Distribution channels will be different. Supply channels will be different. Balance sheet management by different companies will be different than it was before. And we'll all have to adjust to those new realities. So I think our game plan at the moment is to really learn, listen, observe, and adapt with one singular focus in mind overall, and that is to continue to bring innovative lighting solutions to the marketplace as expeditiously as possible, with the highest possible quality, and with outstanding customer service so that we are differentiated in the market. I think if you do those well, consistently, this company will be a winner for the long term.
And with the current economics of the world, there are choices that generally have to be made. We have to figure out new ways to do business, cut costs, or maintain quality, or there are a lot of ors, right?
Right.
What
right.
are you thinking of doing as a focus, John?
I think one thing that makes a family business a bit different than a corporate-run lighting company is that we as a family can make a decision to make long-term investments. I'll give you an example. We spent over 2.5 years developing our landscape lighting product called Qscape. We had over 2,500 engineering drawings. We had 250 separate parts that we had to fabricate for that system. And for a small company to spend 2.5 years and an incredible amount of tooling dollars to develop that product line without a single cent coming in until it was finished and launched is rare today. It is very rare. We are currently working on some very innovative developments that only a few people know about inside this company, and they take almost at least 2 years to develop when you are doing a breakthrough innovative product. Now, we will do products that are far simpler than that. We did a product for our new offices, for example, which we did in pretty much 60 days. But we realized
Record
that
time.
that was
amazing.
it was a record product. We needed to get it done. We also did it here for our factory, where our factory is lit with our own lighting. Again, that was done in about 60 days. But these were really almost prototypical installations. For instance, the office lighting, we realized that there's significant improvements that can be made to it. So we are in the process now of making those modifications. We're going to tool it again, and we will have it probably completed and in the marketplace at the end of this year or the early first quarter of next year. And it's a very unique product. A few reps have seen this and have really pushed for us to make sure we get this done quickly. When we have our factory lighting completed, there are some significant changes that we want to make before we really show that off and explain the numbers on it. And we'll probably do a special Q School on these systems when they're completed.
Right.
But we, as a company, start with pretty much a white piece of paper. That's how I like to start a design. We don't want to copy things. We want to look at how do we solve lighting problems. We want to hear from specifiers and our sales reps if they see an issue that needs addressing. We love rolling up our sleeves and looking at those kinds of opportunities. And so we as a company want to be able to provide all of the best in market for all kinds of linear lighting systems, but we're now going into fixtures. We're building fixtures for the first time where we're doing innovative fixtures which have multiple light sources incorporated into them. And these would be used in both offices, retail, residential, museums, and we have some exciting new developments in some new fixtures that will probably be of great interest to the lighting design community. They are, I believe, breakthrough products. And again, we've spent 2 years developing these, and they're under the radar right now, but we'll have them in the sunshine probably in the next 6 months.
Nice. And you've described this as a power supply company, but eventually, at some point, we got into linear LEDs. And how did that all begin?
Well, I'd have to say, and I give a great deal of credit to Gean, because I was deep in a project that has been a 10-year project that a few people know about, and that's about ready to become public, and that's a very innovative set of products. But I really need to thank our sales reps and the lighting design community for where we are today, because we were building great power supplies, and they were AC based, and all of a sudden the world turned from AC to DC with LED linear lighting. We adapted our technology to be a fantastic power supply for LED lighting. You take a phase control dimmer and you can dim it down to 0 with no flicker, and to go to dark is fantastic. But we started to show that to lighting designers, and all they wanted to look at were the LED strips that we were using as our demo product. And so, Gean, why don't you take over how this all evolved in around 2014?
Well, it started in 2012.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think initially it was really to sell more power supplies.
Okay.
And it changed the face of our company much more rapidly than I think any of us could have anticipated. We've made toroidal transformers since 1995.
95.
94. We were incorporated in 93, but we started making the toroids in 94. We could have sold those toroids, we still can, to medical, to audio, we focused on the lighting space because that's what we knew. When the world started changing, we recognized that we needed to marry linear lighting or lighting with our power supplies. We chose linear lighting, and so that's how we kind of got into it, to really sell more power supplies. And we did not want to bring out something that was mediocre. We wanted to bring out something that was a pretty high quality product. It took from 2012 really till the fourth quarter of 2013 to launch. So 2014 was our first full year. By 2016, we invested in our encapsulation equipment, and we started growing quickly. So I don't know when the transition happened from being a power supply company to a lighting company, but probably around 2015 is my guess.
But still today, our annual sales, if you break them down by category, 1/3 of our sales annually are power supplies.
Yeah.
And many lighting companies in the LED field really have no experience or expertise. We have electronic engineers on board. We do design work on all kinds of electronics. We have a very strong engineering department. We have our own lab. We do our own testing. That's very complete. And so we developed our reputation of quality and integrity and all of and developed trust within the lighting design and rep community in power supplies. And people want to know if the power supplies and the LED lighting are going to work well together.
Right.
And I think that the design community has a great deal of confidence that if Qtran brings out an LED product and is using our power supplies, the system is going to work and last. It's a quality system. And so when we introduced LED lighting, because of our reputation that we had already established in the marketplace, our acceptance was almost instantaneous from the design community, and our company just grew very rapidly after we combined power supplies and LED product.
So when you have that reputation and people start to see power supplies, and I can get the lights from you now too, certain kinds of lighting, how far do you take that ecosystem? How much do you want to develop your own furthering of the ecosystem versus partnering with or making sure you're compatible with others' dimmers and control systems and that kind of thing? Where do you invest in the future?
Well, so I think that there's no lack of things on the product roadmap right now. I think that focus is probably the conversation that we're starting to have more and more, and what products we want to launch in the next 3-6 months and beyond, obviously. Part of that is the control question and how we're integrating Bluetooth technology and wireless controls into the products. I think that the bigger control systems are not going to go away, but I can't completely foresee the future. But I do think that more and more discrete controls are going to become very important to the world of architectural lighting.
And we have product under development in that area right now.
Yeah. So I think that we're not going to forget our roots as a power supply company or as just a linear strip company, but we are getting into more fixtures and more sophisticated solutions as well.
And positioning wise in the market, you've never been a company to chase the dollar down. Like that does not make sense, right? What does make sense? Where do you want to get in? Is it to fix problems that others have figured out along the way, or to get in with the new projects?
Well, I think that we like to identify problems that need to be solved and solve them through our innovation.
Yep.
But I think it's a combination of everything. There needs to be solutions that are everyday solutions and then solutions to bigger problems.
All right. Talk about a little bit of what we're not looking at doing. Jim, are you here, in any way to look at packaging the company up for sale?
Yeah, that's a question that I think with my 14 years in the private equity world, everybody might wonder, oh my goodness, what's
Right.
John done? He's got a wheeler dealer came on board. Nothing could be further from the truth. I've been a member of an executive forum group now for probably 18, 20 years, 18, 19 years. Probably 90% of those CEOs are running family companies and have been doing so for generations. One of my first assignments when I was a young lad out of business school was working for a company in Simsbury, Connecticut, believe it or not. And it was founded in 1843, and the family still owned it. And it was an incredibly successful company. So, my role here is to bring obviously financial acumen and skill sets from working both in the private companies as well as in public companies. But I remember talking with John 40-something years ago about Gean Tremaine and the family, and frankly, my objective here is to make this as big and as successful and as independent family-owned company as we can possibly do it. I've already had a call or two, and my answer to them is we're simply not interested at all.
Well, I'd also like to add that Jim not only has a Wharton MBA, but he has a PhD from his experience in his whole life working in manufacturing. And he and Gean are working side by side. Their offices are basically next to each other. And Jim's mission here is to really educate Gean and bring him up to become the CEO of this company. Jim will retire at some point. I hate to.
Someday.
I think someday you might. And Gean will take over as CEO. And I will say that today, and that 100% of the stock of this company is owned by Gean and myself. And we have no intention of selling this company. And Jim is here to strengthen us as a company and to prepare us for the next leap in our growth. And he has all of the acumen to do that, and that's why he's here. And we're ready, and we're putting in place all of the necessary items to continue to build this company to be what it is today, but at a much larger scale, with more product, more people. We want to be always mindful of what we need to do to satisfy the specifiers and our sales reps to be able to satisfy our market. And we always want to be considered to be the very best in the industry.
Gean, talk a little bit about the reps, the specifiers, the people that you rely on a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think that right now we have identified some things that we can improve on. We have a great customer service team, but we're trying to improve our time to quote projects. Some of our quick ship initiatives. So we're going to be launching a quick ship program in September. I think that identifying some of the things that we can improve on is important.
We have a new website.
Recognizing we do have a new website coming on board in late September, early October. So there are things we listen. We listen to our reps. We listen to our specifiers. And we try to not only listen, but respond.
And lastly, let's just talk about the future expansion versus maintaining the core of the business. What is the core that you want to make sure is maintained, John, and what is the expansion that you'd like to see Gean, and where do we fall in the middle with that, Jim?
Well, I would say that the core of this business is that it is around innovation in quality and integrity.
Good
That
lighting.
is what we will always continue to do. As we grow, we will have more resources to put more people in the seats that we need to have to accelerate, say, product development. We'll have more people in sales. We'll have more people in manufacturing. Our systems will be even better than they are today.
Much better.
Our cash flow will be greater. Everything that as the tide goes up, we will use those resources efficiently to bring more innovation to the marketplace. And I find it so thrilling after being in this industry for 50 years to be at the place we are now. I count my blessings every day, and I thank everybody that is involved in it here in this building, and also at large, our specifiers and our sales reps and that community. We have a fantastic organization, and it's just going to get better.
Yeah, I mean, I can echo everything you
Yeah.
just said. I don't think that there's much more to say beyond that. So
That's perfect. All right. Well, we'll wrap this one up. Wait, we may actually have something to answer here. Let's find out.
I have two questions.
2 questions.
With reps not able to make sales calls due to COVID, how are you getting your products in front of lighting designers?
How are we getting the products where?
In front of lighting designers?
In front of designers themselves.
So that's a good question. We've invested in this equipment, and in early April we started doing our Q schools and focusing on specific products. So our product spotlights, keeping it to the 30-minute presentation, and so we've been doing that every week. So we created a cadence, and that has been fantastic. But we also, in our office expansion, we vacated a office that allowed us to create a studio. That studio was actually going to be our training room, but right now it's our studio. It could be used for both purposes. But that has also allowed us to have one-on-one sales calls with our specifiers. Right now, most of our specifiers are still working remotely. And so we've been able to jump on calls, either scheduled or unscheduled sometimes, and go over specific products with some of the better camera equipment that we have here. And not just, Crowdcast is great for the product spotlights, but we generally do specifier calls over Teams or something like that.
One-on-one calls with the detail and the quality so that they can actually see what's being
Right. So
shown.
PowerPoint presentations are great,
Right.
but they don't communicate the product very well.
Right.
Well, I
And,
think the very high quality videography has allowed the development team and the sales team with the specifier sessions to focus down on the most minute detail as if they were in person.
Yeah.
So in spite of the inability to travel or to go to offices, I think the guys have done and the gals have done a phenomenal job. And it was not a small investment. It's a major investment in videography equipment and skills, but that has been transformative. And I suspect that there will be a significant component of that indefinitely into the future,
Yeah.
long past COVID being completed.
Yeah, and the feedback that we've gotten has been very positive.
Great. And I think we have one more.
I have a question for John. What do you see your role to be with Qtran in the future?
Well, I love working, so I'm not going anywhere. I have a home in Florida with a very high-tech office, and I am here half the year and there half the year. I am able to work very efficiently from there, and I am a part of the design, creation, forward thinking of the company. I am not involved in the daily operations. Frankly, it's never been my strength. It wasn't something that had to be done in the early days, but I'm so pleased to have Jim here, and Gean's done a great job before Jim arrived. But what I like and what I will continue to do is innovate. And time will tell how that all works out, because I think it's worked out pretty well so far.
Right.
But as I get more team members to help me, I'm very good on the concepts of products, and I'm good at making sure the details are correct. And as I have more people to work on the engineering of these projects and products, we'll be able to do more.
So you still have your lighting designer head on.
Well, I think I'm following my great-grandfather's footsteps. He never retired. And he went to 89, and he was on the board at General Electric. He kept suggesting that he should retire, and they would hear none of that. And he died. When he died, he was still on the board of General Electric and went to meetings. And so, sorry, guys. I'm going to be around.
It's all right by me.
I have a question from the chat. Are you planning on developing a low-profile, direct, indirect, linear pendant fixture?
A low-profile, direct and indirect.
I can say yes,
pendant.
we are.
Yes.
Not just one, several.
So we're going to continue to expand the product offerings around the actual lighting fixture and to round out the power supply and driver end. Is that safe to say? It's
Right.
Yeah, so, I don't think that we're going to forget the fact that we still make linear strip product, and there are applications for that, but more finished, sophisticated fixtures are kind of where we're headed, and headed pretty quickly.
And that's it. We're going to wrap this one up. Thank you, everybody. And
Thanks.
Thank
have
you.
a great day.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike.